Hey, I'm Dennis from this side of Anarchy, and welcome to Band, my show where I let you in on my getting to know other independent bands that I support on social media and that support me in return. And we get to know each other a little better by answering 5 questions each. Please hit the subscribe button if you're on YouTube or listening on podcast so you can keep up to date and enjoy this episode. Welcome to another episode of Band. It's been took a little hiatus, writing some songs and doing some stuff. So now we're back with a new episode with the Cranberry Merchants.
Hi.
Hey.
They were they're an early supporter. They gave me a bunch of links. They sent me some little links through Twitter, and we've been not collaborating, but helping each other out. And
yeah,
it's good to have you guys on.
Good to be on. Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you.
So, I guess for everybody else, introduce yourselves and a little bit about the band. I guess you're just you two, right?
Yep, we're a duo.
And what kind of instruments you guys play, or who does what?
I'm Steve. I play guitar and bass. Guitar and bass.
Okay.
And I'm Diane. I play drums and keyboard, and we both do some vocals.
Yeah.
Cool. How long have you guys been doing that?
Well, as the Cranberry Merchants, only a little over 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
But we've actually been playing music together for it's getting close to 30 years now.
Yeah, coming up on 3 decades.
Yeah.
Cool. And are you married, or are you just together, or friends, or?
We are married.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll, in fact, next month we'll celebrate 29 years.
That's right.
Ooh, 29.
Yeah.
Wow, nice. Yeah, I'll be with my wife 28 since our first date, so we're going to be 27 years this October, I think.
Oh,
So,
cool.
so yeah, so we're pretty much in the same boat, except she's not really a musician. She tried to play. She likes the violin. We got her a violin, and she took some lessons for a while, and then she had a thing with her shoulder muscles, and she just can't do the the rotator cuff. She had some kind of issue with, and it really froze up. So now she can't. She was just starting to learn like 10 or 15 years ago, and then
That's too bad.
And then she did something that just crept up. I mean, she didn't do any weird thing. It just happened. It's weird, strange. This is age.
I hear you.
That could be it. Happens to the best of us.
So tell me about the name Cranberry Merchants. How did that come about? Do you guys have a cranberry farm or what?
Even better. My dad was a very colorful character. He had a lot of catchphrases all his own, and my favorite one of his was, if somebody, say a politician or you or me, was like telling a huge lie to his face, he would say, "You got more BS than a Cranberry Merchant," or something like that. I'm like, band name.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's a cool name. I like that.
Yeah, we don't even really know what it means, but we liked
it.
Cool. So that's the best. That's the best ones. I like people that write music that it just doesn't mean anything. They just write it, and then people put all this thought and intrigue into all this thing. He's like, it doesn't really mean much. I just wrote this.
Yeah, try to put their own interpretation.
I know, make up all this stuff for it. So, what other kind of bands have you been in, or?
We started off about 93. We were in a trio.
Mm-hmm.
It was, the two of us, another guy, and that lasted maybe 7 or 8 months. We weren't clicking. He was a very contrary person. He had a lot of great ideas, but didn't know what to do with them. He didn't like any ideas that we were throwing out there and putting on the table, and it was just oil and water. We just couldn't really click. And he moved away, and then we That band was Halcyon. Then when he moved away, we just started off the duo, and we were Halcyon AD after that, and we started really in earnest writing together. I mean, we were able to just write anything we pleased because there was no friction whatsoever with anybody. There isn't any between us. So whatever went on the table, we just wrote it, and we rode with it. We have been writing with it ever since.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, that incarnation of the band, I mean, it was a very different time as far as the music business.
Yeah.
You pretty much either had to, just really bust your butt touring, or you had to be signed to a record label to have any success at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't really get too far with it. We had a little bit of play on college radio, but that was about it.
Well, and also for the era that it was, I mean, it was right in the middle of the grunge era, and
Right.
you weren't grunge or folk. Nobody really wanted to hear what you had to say.
Right.
That's the way it was. So we didn't really click back then. I mean, we had demo versions of things like the Black Mariah or our new single Never Again, but I mean, they just didn't click. Nobody wanted to hear it because we weren't grunge or folk. So
Right. Yeah, times have changed. It's great that all the independents have an outlet now through the internet, and you can do a lot yourself.
absolutely.
It really helps. All right, you can go to your question.
Okay. Well, our first question for you is, so exactly which side of Anarchy is this side of Anarchy?
Yeah, it's a softball one.
Yeah, we put a lot of thought into it. So
Yeah, yeah, I get this question a lot, but it's based. I kind of started this. One of my projects is like I have this podcast I want to do too about just what my whole concept is about and kind of like my whole philosophy. But I kind of started a couple of times and got a couple of paragraphs in an outline, and that's coming up soon. One of these days I'll get onto that. But right now I'm writing like 6 or 7 songs. Need to update the website, and I'm just too busy. But basically, it's just the philosophy of my life. It's just like I never liked being told what to do. My parents are just like, and then it's just I always questioned everything, and then it wasn't until like the 83 or 84 I kind of really knew or was exposed to like really punk rock, and it was just like a light went off, like, wow, this is like somebody out there is like doesn't want people to tell you what to do, but I think at the beginning it was like more into the anarchy thing, which we used to discuss this when I was in one of my other bands, Society Gone Mad. Like, anarchy's good, but then you basically got the strongest are going to survive. So then where are the weak? Anarchy is like so anarchy is not going to work, but then people try to control each other too much. So I just kind of I had my big list of band names, and I share it with somebody, and they said that was the one. So I said, oh, okay, that's cool. So it's just like it's not total anarchy. It's just, but it's just,
just the side of it.
It's just this side of it is like there's just so many. It just annoys me. So many laws, and people are in everybody's business. It's like ridiculous.
Yeah.
It just bothers me. Like even like even in your car, laws against texting. It's just like they gotta have, then they're gonna have law. You can't eat a hamburger. You can't put on your makeup. You can't. I'm like, well, you just say you can't drive. The general law. You can't drive impaired or bothered. Okay, that's it. Now you can't. It's just like, and I don't understand politicians. I hate politicians. I'm not a political guy. It's like, stay out of my business. It's like I don't
think
get,
that's a general consensus these days.
Yeah.
I just don't understand somebody waking up and like, okay, I'm gonna go make this law and tell people what to do. I'm like, how's somebody even? I don't know. It just bugs me.
I hear you.
Understandable.
Preaching the choir.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Let's see. So what is your process for writing music? And do you guys record yourself at a studio, or do you have a home studio? And what kind of software do you use? Or
Well,
does
as far as the process goes, it changes from one time to the next.
Yeah.
You know, so most of the time, I think he'll usually come up with like a good hook type riff, and we'll kind of build on that.
Mhm.
But there are times that, you know, it starts maybe with some lyrics that I wrote or something like that. So it, you know, as far as how a song starts, that can change from one time to the next.
Yeah.
But we do record our own music here at
Mhm.
home, just kind of a home studio type thing. And we use a program called Samplitude for recording,
Okay.
which it's pretty simple. I like the program because it's kind of set up like an old analog mixer.
Mhm.
And you know, we went to school for that sort of thing, like late 80s, early 90s. And so that's kind of what we learned on is, you know, an old analog kind of board.
Right.
So this is a kind of a great adaptation to that, you know, in digital recording where everything looks pretty familiar.
Mhm.
Having to learn a lot of new, you know, new features.
Exactly.
What was that calling it? I gotta check that out. The
Called Samplitude.
Samplitude.
You'll love it.
Yeah, it's actually very inexpensive too, but it's, you know, it's a nice little workhorse kind of program.
Cool. Always interested in new computer stuff.
You know?
Like trying new stuff. All right. What's your next question?
Okay, well, if you weren't a musician, what would you want to be doing?
Well, probably the same thing I'm doing right now because I got a regular job. I've worked in various aircraft jobs, various aircraft in the aircraft industry for probably 40 years now. So probably still be doing the same thing because being a musician won't pay the bills usually. Get starving artists living on the streets.
What do you do in the aircraft industry?
Yeah.
Right now, it's just I repair and overhaul aircraft instruments mainly, and actuators and valves and stuff like that.
Neat.
Cool.
So, yeah. Right now, mainly for military. We do military surplus and all the older parts.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm not mechanically inclined at all, so God love you.
Yeah, it's a blessing and a curse because I can pretty much do a lot of things. I mean, I like doing computers. I like doing plants. I redone my kitchen. You know, worked on cars, overhauled things. I can do, you know, lots of different stuff. And sometimes you don't have enough time to do everything you can do. I'm like,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah. All right. So I see a lot of Lego that you guys always have. So who's the aficionado and how does that come about? And who comes up with those ideas?
Well, we've actually had Lego as a hobby for probably almost as long as we've known each other.
Oh yeah.
We kind of started collecting it probably shortly after we got married.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's just accumulated over the years. I mean, we'll get each other a Lego for a birthday or Christmas or something like that. And other people have given us some knowing that we like it. And before we know it, we've got a basement full of Lego. And, you know, we hadn't really intended on it being part of our music career. It was just kind of a fluke.
Yeah.
I think a while back when we were kind of messing with it, and just as a joke, we made kind of Lego figures of ourselves.
Mhm.
And we thought, well, we'll use this as a little promo on our social media or something, just just kind of joking around. And people just loved it.
Yeah.
They thought it was so cool. And after a while, people were asking us, "Oh man, can you make a Lego version of me?" And so a lot of these indie musicians and DJs that we started to get to know a little at a time, we'd make a figure of one or the other of them. And, before we knew it, we had 40, 50 different figures. So
Yeah.
we just ran with it because it works. I mean, it's kind of,
It's a nice calling card, I guess.
yeah. And
Yeah.
we didn't intend it to become like a gimmick, but it's
Yeah.
kind of become a promotional gimmick.
Well, we also know there are some musicians where they really take themselves too seriously. I mean, like, we're not like some kind of a joke band like Weird Al Yankovic or anything, but it's like,
Mhm.
no, we're cool. You would just, I think it's a nice way to show that, we're cool with whatever. We just,
Yeah, and you could just kind of,
Have fun
laugh
with
at
it.
yourself.
Yeah. yeah,
And hey,
Definitely.
we may as well do something with all that Lego. Right?
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, my son was really into it too. I'm actually both my sons, but my other son, he used to make when he was 10, 12 maybe. I got him my old digital camera and I got him a stand, and he would make his little cars and make them move, and he'd make little scenes, and
Awesome.
he'd do
Yeah,
the
just for us, it turned into a music video for our video Disturbing the Peace.
Mhm.
We thought, well, I'd never tried the stop animation stuff before,
Mhm.
but I found a good iPhone app
Mhm.
for it. And so, took about 3 weeks to build the sets, to, film the parts, and then to edit everything together. But it's been one of our more popular videos as a result.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Okay. Next question for you.
Alrighty. Okay, if you could give a recording of your music to any famous musician or record executive that's around right now, who would you give it to?
Man, that's a rough question too. The only people I could think of would be it'd be really cool to be able to give them to like Johnny Rotten or Steve Jones. That would be really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And or Scott Ian or Charlie Benante of Anthrax.
Yeah.
Those would be cool.
Very
Well,
cool.
yeah, it'd be awesome to get an opinion from somebody like that.
Yeah. Or it would have been cool if get one from Lemmy when he was alive, but
Yeah.
that's not anymore.
Cool.
Okay. And you guys look like you're really good at the promotion thing, because I'm always seeing calendars that are full, and you're doing radio shows and all kinds of stuff. You're on Cowboy Joe, and how did all that stuff come about?
Well, when we were getting ready to kind of start music again as the Cranberry Merchants, we actually had like a 3-month stint where Steve didn't have to go to work. He had to get knee replacement surgery. And so he was off work for 3 months. He actually recovered very quickly, but we had that 3 months to just really prepare and set up all of our social media, to get things ready as far as, distribution for our debut release and everything. So we kind of got all that set up in advance. And then since then, we kind of tag team on keeping up with
Yeah.
it. Steve takes care of our Instagram page. I take care of Twitter. And then we both kind of, take care of Facebook together. And then, we just started doing a lot of networking with indie radio stations, because it was all new to us when we started. But then when we discovered how many are out there, it's like, the possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
So we try to, every week, if a station follows us on Twitter or something, we immediately, send them some of our stuff. And, it's gotten to where we've gotten, airplay on stations all over the globe now.
Yeah.
At least a couple hundred and counting.
Probably, yeah.
And we find the more we do it, the more it kind of multiplies on itself. So
Yeah.
and there are some stations where we've gotten to where we have a closer relationship than others. Is like with Cowboy Joe, you were asking. We got to know Jeff Rickett, who is the main DJ for Cowboy Joe. And we just really hit it off, I think, even starting with our first interview with him. And we became good friends with him. And got to doing a lot of interviews. And, I would throw him ideas for shows and stuff like that. And after a while, he was like, well, why don't you guys just do a show for us?
Yeah.
Do your own radio show. And at first, we didn't really have the time. It took a while to kind of get organized on that. But then it was April of last year?
Yeah.
I think. We started doing our show, The Beat. And it's, been doing pretty well. And, we've kind of gotten on a regular schedule with it. So it worked out well.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of one of the drawbacks of doing it by myself. It's just too hard to like do everything. It's, family, job, house, music. I've been trying to do the lyrics for my 6 songs for like a couple weeks. It's just like, because it's just in my living room. I was gonna do some last night, and it's like, well, it's 10:30, and I looked in the bedroom, and my wife's got the door closed with the light off. I'm like, oh, well, she's probably sleeping, so I don't want to be screaming. One time a few weeks ago, she was like, woke me up. I'm like, oh well. Sorry. And then my other son, he had his headphones on playing his music, or he was racing for his race cars, iRacing. He said it was loud even he had his headphones on. I was singing. So yeah, it's good. It's good to have collaboration. I need to find somebody that I can get with to help me out.
Yeah, it works out well because it's just the two of us here in the house, just us and our cats basically.
Yeah.
And Steve actually works very long hours on his day job.
Yeah.
So, I have to do a lot of the like the editing for our show, or when we've done some recording, I'm the one that does all the mixing and all that kind of thing, just because I have more time for it.
Yeah.
Right.
Also the video directing, she does all that too.
Yeah, so it does help to have a partner in it, though.
Yeah.
For real.
Definitely. Okay, your question.
All right. We're going on a really long road trip. What kind of snacks are you packing?
Well, in the past, when we used to do shows and do road trips up to San Francisco or whatever, it always used to be my thing. Everybody used to always laugh at me. It always used to be candy and soda.
I see no problem here.
There's nothing wrong with that.
So, but now that I'm a little older, it's probably chips and soda. It's chips, beef jerky, and soda, probably.
Cool. Let's do it. Let's go.
It's always an important consideration before you hit the road. You got to have the right snacks.
Oh, yeah, you gotta have snacks, definitely. All right. What else do you guys do besides music, or is it all music? You have any other hobbies, cooking, gardening, or?
We love taking road trips. We're big into history, genealogy are big things for us, and of course Lego. But yeah, really between those 4 things, it keeps us pretty busy.
Yeah.
Busy with our leisure.
You only do so much, yeah. Definitely. All right, your last question.
Okay. What mainstream musicians out there do you think are highly underrated?
Underrated. I can't really think of any that are underrated. Maybe
Overrated.
Yeah.
overrated. People might be a little mad, but I always thought the Beatles were overrated. I mean, they're good. I mean, I like a lot of their songs, but I just don't think they're like super duper like a lot of things people do. I mean, they're a good band and they changed a lot of things, but I don't know. Maybe it's the time. The time. Maybe it was I was born like when they were starting out. So
Yeah.
so I wasn't really there. I was too young. But it just seems like from what I heard in the '70s, it just seemed like they were a little overrated. And Madonna, Justin Bieber, Taylor Swift, all people like that. And I'm sure they're like way overrated.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to agree there.
Yeah, yeah. I would have to give that one a thumbs up.
But underrated, I don't know. It depends on what you mean by popular, I guess, or mainstream.
Well, like I guess just to give an example, I grew up. I was a teenager in the mid '80s,
Mm-hmm.
and I always really liked the band Duran Duran.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people gave them a bad rap because they had a big female following, kind of that teeny bop reputation. So
Right.
people automatically assume they're not really great musicians.
Right.
But if you really listen to their albums, they're actually phenomenal musicians.
Yeah.
So in that respect, I always thought they were, highly underrated. So I guess, maybe an act like that, maybe people have a certain attitude about. But,
Right. It just depends on the person and the genre, I guess, because I'm sure a lot of people think the Sex Pistols are overrated and like what they're doing, but I mean they and the Ramones. I mean they're people probably think, oh, they're just punk rockers and just blah blah, but their technique and how they all do everything downstroke is like, I mean, that's hard to
yeah.
do. Just it's a, I
Yeah,
mean,
and that's actually a great example because
they're still still really
people
good.
don't realize how hard it is
Yeah.
to play that tight, that fast.
Right. Yeah.
Fact.
So yeah, definitely.
Very cool.
So maybe tell people that don't know or that are watching us that don't know about you where they can find you the easiest, and maybe what's some of your releases that you've had out, and so you can get some promotion going.
We're all over the place. Where you could find us, the best jump off point would probably be our website, which is cranberrymerchants.com. That will take you to Twitter and to Instagram and to Facebook and Spotify. And we made it a point to get everywhere that we could, all over the place. Google us, and we're all over. We try to be in every little corner, nook and cranny of the internet that we can. So.
Yeah, me too, definitely.
Yeah, and definitely, check out our YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
We've got videos there. We even make like some lyric videos and kind of making of films for our videos, to kind of show how different effects are done and things like that. So yeah, definitely check us out there. And we've got a brand new single out right now called Never Again that just came out back on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So, definitely check that out. It just released on Spotify and all the, major streaming channels, so people can check that out.
Cool. And how many singles do you guys have out, or do you have any EPs, or are you just doing all singles?
We put out an EP initially when we very first came out of the gate. Since then, we put out 4 singles, and we might put out another single and just kind of like wrangle them together so we have another EP, just kind of collect everything in one spot. But
Yeah.
right now, it's an EP and 4 singles.
Yeah. The EP had 3 singles off of it.
Yeah.
And then we've Never Again is our 4th one that we put out by itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been kind of doing an EP, and then I've been doing 2 EPs, and then when I have enough for the 3rd EP, I'll wrap the previous 2 EPs into an album, kind of.
There you go.
It just feels easier.
Yeah, the singles thing just seems a bit much for me personally, but yeah, I mean, whatever works for whatever band. Yeah, and everybody can find me the same thing, thissideofanarchy.com. I'm pretty much everywhere, and
Yes.
I think it's advantageous to have a website where, if people just have Instagrams and Facebooks and Twitters, and you gotta tell, oh, here we're here we're there,
Yeah.
here we're this, we got a different name here because it was taken, and like, just go to thisideofanarchy.com and it's all there. You can
Yeah.
find it.
Yeah, it's the best way to do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So this was awesome. I'm glad to meet you guys finally, officially. Thanks
Yeah.
for
No,
Pleasure to
all the
meet you.
support.
thank you so much for having us on.
Oh yeah, definitely. And we'll keep promoting each other.
That sounds like a plan.
Absolutely.
Let's do this.